Behind me is one of the most iconic viewpoints in the United Kingdom, Durham Cathedral. It's been photographed millions of times by hundreds of thousands of photographers. It's been painted over the centuries, and yet I still keep returning to it time and time again. But why? Join me today as I explain. This incredible cathedral has been here for the best part of 1,000 years. It's been photographed since light first fell on celluloid, and it's been painted more or less since it was erected. It is such an incredible location. It's almost like a composition made for photography and for artists. The incredible cathedral on the escarpment over the River Weir. The Weir itself leading the eye through as a leading line to the cathedral, and then the centre point of the whole composition is the mill at the bottom of the cathedral that holds everything together and captures the eye. It's an incredible location. But why do I keep coming back to it? I've been here autumn, spring, summer and winter. I've been here in the mornings, I've been here in the evenings. Every time the light is different. It's my favourite place to shoot, and it's one that I will keep coming back to. And today I want to explain to you why it's a great idea to come back to familiar places, to shoot them again and again, as I do with beautiful Durham Cathedral. Now the first thing is the seasons. As you can see, we're in this beautiful location with the river running through and this tree line. And the lights and the colours change all through the seasons. There's never a day where it looks the same. In autumn, the trees are absolutely magnificent. The different species of trees there de-leaf at different times. The oranges, the reds, the different colours are absolutely fabulous. In winter, you get the cold blue light. Often you get mist. You get these misty, foggy sunrises. Brilliant for drone photography from this point. In spring, as we are now, the trees start to bloom. Again, different colours, different textures in the background. And in summer, the trees are in full bloom, the water is sparkling, clean, it's absolutely beautiful. And being so far north, the sun moves through the sky at different times of year. At the moment, the sun has just risen over there about an hour ago. In the winter, it will rise over there. In the summer, it's going to set way over there, and in the winter, it's going to set just over there. The light on the cathedral is different at all times of year. It's a fantastic place to shoot. So today I'm going to shoot again this beautiful location, and I'm going to take you through some of the things that I'm trying to capture in this scene. I haven't picked this day in particular for any reason other than this is the day I want to shoot. The light is not great, the sun is coming up behind, it's very backlit. I'm going to challenge myself to get good shots from this scene, and I'm going to explain to you why coming back to this scene or coming back to any scene is a great idea to challenge yourself. So let's get into it. So the first and obvious composition is this classic scene. You've got the Weir leading the eye through to the mill, and then the beautiful cathedral on top of the escarpment. It's a classic scene, and it's one that you can photograph again and again. Today the light's not great, the light's behind the cathedral, and yet because it's so low in the sky, it's still very early in the morning, that cathedral is still very visible. It's got an almost glow to it. So I'm going to take a few shots of the classic scene and see what I can get. Now the beauty of this scene is you can position the cathedral to the left or the right of the frame and still get equally great looking shots. If you place the cathedral to the right of the scene, you kind of get a lot of sky in the left of the scene. So this kind of composition actually works best when you've got a moody looking sky, perhaps a sunrise, sunset with clouds in the sky and light reflecting off that clouds. Today it's a very flat sky, and this particular composition doesn't actually work very well. Now very often on days like today, I will actually bracket my shots. Because the light is quite harsh, because the light is difficult to work with, I tend to shoot a 5-stop bracket, 2/3 of a stop from under through to over with the correct exposure in the middle. And I'm going to do that today just to see what I can get out of it. I also use exposure compensation a fair bit in this particular type of light, and I also use the highlight zebra tool that's very common in video. I use it in photography as well because it can show me the areas of highlights that are potentially going to blow. I do shoot in RAW, so I know that I've got at least a stop, perhaps 2 stops more available to me in a RAW file. If you saw my video about shooting to the right, you'll see just how much more dynamic range you get out of this Sony by shooting RAW. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. It's well worth watching. But of course, it's not just landscape format that you can shoot these beautiful landscapes in. This particular scene actually begs out to shooting in portrait format as well. So I'm going to turn the camera around and do a few shots in portrait format. Shooting the iconic scene is great because it challenges you to see the nuances and the differences hour by hour, day by day, season by season. You can spot the little differences in the light, the way that the sky changes, the way that the sun moves around the sky, the different times of day. I've been here in the evening when the cathedral lights up at different times of year, and it looks fantastic. You can find so many different variations of the same scene. It trains your eye to see how light works, how weather works, how light and shade, form, texture all works in one individual shot and changes by the hour. But beyond the iconic scenes, there are all the other little elements within this one area that you can shoot that are not iconic scenes. I've done videos about not shooting the iconic cliched scenes, about shooting the details, and I'm going to have a look at some of those right now. And the most obvious, of course, is the mill. You can shoot this mill without having to get the cathedral in. It's a really, really pretty place. And the first thing that strikes you is the tree to the right of the mill, and I've seen this so many times before, is a completely different colour. It's a dark maroon colour compared to the green, the verdant green of all the other trees around it. And it really makes it stand out. I've been down here very early in the morning and there was a light on in the mill. Sun wasn't up, it was still dark. And there was a single light on in the mill that made for the most fantastic shot. Today the sun's well up and there are no lights on in the mill. I didn't even know that the mill was occupied. I thought it was actually a derelict building, but it does seem that it is in use. And although you can't see it from here, there are a colony of cranes that sit on the weir here, and they're also great to photograph if you've got a long lens. In fact, the river here has otters, it has all sorts of wildlife. So even if you're not into the landscape side of it, you can shoot wildlife. It's a fantastic place to shoot. Over the other side here is another beautiful location that people tend to ignore, and it's just a simple boathouse, but it's a red brick boathouse and it just stands out on the river. It's really fantastic. You get these wonderful reflections with the weir and the boathouse, and the contrast in the colours between the reds, the greens and the dark colour of the water and the foam of the water, the white foam of the water. It's again a really pretty location. And you can actually use the weir as a way of dissecting the picture into two halves. You've got the calmness of the boathouse and the reflections in the river with the turmoil of the river as it's gone past the weir. And the weir also is fantastic because it changes through the year as much as the rest of the scene. In the winter, when the snows on the moors to the west of here are melting, it is absolutely torrential. After heavy storms at the end of summer, the water gushes down here. Today, it's hardly moving at all. We've not had any rain, any significant rain in weeks. So there's hardly any movement in the water above the weir, and over the weir there's hardly any water as well. So it makes for a great shot, but again, it's one of those little details that just changes from day to day, from year to year. But of course, when you've got moving water, you've got motion, and when you've got motion, you can do ethereal water shots. Now, it's not going to be great today. I have bought my filters, but the water is so low and so slow today that it's really not going to get great shots. However, in the past, I've shot many, many shots, both of the iconic view and of the little details of this weir, using an ND64 or sometimes even an ND1000 to get really, really ethereal looking water, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Another thing you can also do is shoot panoramics, and the best way to do that is to put the camera in a vertical format, and it's best to have it on a tripod, but you can do it handhold. And a shot like this is just begging for a panoramic. You've got the beautiful bridge all the way down the river there and this big sweeping vista. I'm not going to shoot it today because the video camera is just there, but I have done this before, and I will show you some examples of that particular shoot where I've shot all the way around. That also means when you return to a location, particularly one that's got so much encompassing it, have a look at shooting panoramics. Turn your camera vertical, shoot it around between 30 and 70, preferably around 50mm, depending what you can get in the scene, because that controls the distortion and makes it more natural and easier to stitch together in post-production. And see what you can get with a panoramic shot. There's some more little details just over to my right here. I'm going to try and shoot and isolate some of the details against the water rushing over the weir. And for that I will use a ND filter to try and slow that water down and see what we can actually get. And these are the Freewell filters that Freewell sent for me to have a look at a while ago. I did a video about that. I really like them. I also have the case magnetic filters. These are magnetic as well, and I love both of them. I tend to vary between the two, but today I've bought these ones. I'm going to stick an ND64 on and we'll see what we can get with this motion in the water. Thing to remember when shooting with ND filters is obviously to turn your auto ISO over, because I've just popped that filter on and the ISO has just whacked itself up probably to 1200, perhaps 1600, something like that. So I'm going to put it all the way back down to ISO 100, which is the base ISO on this camera, and we'll see what we can get. And at the moment we're getting a 1 second exposure, so we'll give that a go. I've still got it in bracket mode, so we'll see what we can get with the bracket. And for this shot I'm going to stop down and try and get that exposure as far down as possible. And again, it's bracketing. All of the shots are around 15 seconds, so it's bracketing around 15 seconds. So this might take a little bit of time. Now, by sticking to this location, I've said there are so many nuances and different things that you can see that boost your creativity. You can see the way the weir is moving. I can see the way the light falls on the cathedral at different times of year. I've just seen a beautiful shot right now. The light is shining behind the tree on the tower of the cathedral. I'm going to get that shot quickly before it disappears. It'll be interesting to see how those shots come out. I'll show them on screen just now. But I think importantly, it actually shows what I'm talking about here. I know this scene. I've photographed this scene a million times, and yet I've never noticed the sun coming behind the cathedral and backlighting up those trees just in front of the cathedral. It really demonstrates quite well how coming back to the same location time and time again can improve your perception, your vision, your ability to see and think creatively. So I'm going to pop the ND filter on and do a little bit more with the motion of the actual river weir and the weir. And again, I'm concentrating on the I'd say rushing water, but it's not, because obviously it hasn't rained. It's not rushing heavily. But I'm going to concentrate on a little piece of plant life that is clinging onto the weir, and use that as the focus point of the composition and allow the water around it to blur, bringing your eye to that particular piece of vegetation. And in fact, there's dead logs and stuff that are stuck in the weir as well that make a great counterpoint, a big juxtaposition, the stillness of these logs against the rushing water of the weir. Now, of course, I can't not come to this iconic location and not shoot the iconic location with an ND filter to get that motion in the water. So that's what I'm going to do next, just to wrap it up. And we've even got the crane or heron in the bottom right of the scene to add to it. Hopefully it'll stay nice and still and won't be affected by the long shutter speed. As I said that, it flew off. So I'm using a shutter speed of 5 seconds at f16. I don't want to go beyond f16 because you can get diffraction even on a full frame camera. And if you don't know what diffraction is, and if you're finding your images are getting a little bit blurry, a little bit unsharp at very small apertures, take a look at this video as I explain why. And whilst these long exposures are carrying on, behind me is actually a little mill, and this is also a nice location to shoot. Turning the camera around and shooting, there's some beautiful blue doors, some ivy creeping up these ancient walls, and on the other side of this mill, it's the other side of the Weir, you get another viewpoint of this cathedral behind the Weir, and the water can be very, very still there, and you can get some fantastic reflections, not only of the cathedral, but of the Prebends Bridge, which is just further down the river here. And although I didn't set my main Sony up, I took a couple of photos just on the other side of this mill of the cathedral and of the Prebends Bridge and the reflections just before I came here and set up. I'll show you those right now. So I'm just wrapping up a few shots of long exposure with the mill. I've actually cropped in tighter on the mill and got the cathedral out of the shot. Again, as I said, the river is not flowing particularly quickly over the Weir at the moment, so it's not great for long exposure ethereal shots, but I'm just doing a few more. But I think today has just really shown how coming back to the same location, same spot, and yet so many different nuances in the scene. All the shots that I've taken today will be very different and yet very similar to the shots that I've taken over the past 3 years. There'll be subtle yet significant differences in those shots. So do you have any locations that you love to come back to time and time again, day by day, season by season? If you do, let me know in the comments, and also let me know what it is about that location that really inspires you, that spurs on your creativity. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give me a like. If you've really enjoyed today's video, a subscription would be fantastic. If you've got any suggestions on videos that you would like to see from me, particularly about composition, like I said a little while ago, I want to do a few more videos about composition and getting out and shooting, as well as the technical and the comparison stuff that I do quite regularly. If you've got anything you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.